Do I have an idea worth spreading? Imagine a place where each student has a voice.
A community closing the gap in the workforce. This is a place of hope.
By the year 2020, there'll be 1 million more new jobs in computer science. Computer science.
Than American students prepared to take them.
This is a gap in the workforce. Gap in the workforce.
This is a social justice issue.
There's something brewing in this valley.
A school where children begin to learn computer science as early as kindergarten.
The shift has been made.
I learned to code when I was 6.
We get to learn more about technology and about
Coding, job gaming, program, 3D printing.
Symbols, numbers, solar cells and solar panels and the motor and how it works.
because you have to use your mind to figure out what you're supposed to do.
This is a game changer.
Life in the 21st century belongs to those who are prepared.
Imagine high school students as qualified as college students.
If we can dream it,
We can do it.
Together, we can create a new Cajon Valley.
together we can create a new Silicon Valley.
We want you to get involved.
Good evening, everyone. We wanted to start with a video to set the tone for our panel on education. We all know that Minecraft is fun, and we also know that Minecraft is educational. And the subject of our panel is, how can we overcome the obstacles for gaming and education, and how can we do that in a way that keeps Minecraft a fun game for students while simultaneously making sure that it remains a meaningful game from the point of view of educators. And so we have an amazing panel, a really cross-functional perspective, lots of different lenses that we've worked on Minecraft and education. And one of the things that we're going to hear from is a case study. And before we do that, I'd like to first introduce the panelists. And so we'll start here on my left with David.
My name is David Miyashiro. I'm superintendent or superhead of the Cajon Valley School District in San Diego, California.
Hello, I'm Deirdre Kornstrom, and I work at Microsoft. I'm working on the education initiative for Minecraft.
Hello, I'm Vu Bui. I'm the COO of Mojang.
Hi, I'm Mr. Bennett. I'm a primary school teacher from Plymouth, way down the southwest of the UK.
And hello, I'm Graham Nimmo, a computing science teacher at a high school in the south of Scotland.
I'm Andrew Svehaug, CEO of Code to the Future. We're an education consulting company. And we've had the opportunity to work with administrators in many different areas. And one of the things that we've seen is it's all about leadership in terms of creating an opportunity to bring Minecraft on a wide scale into the classroom. And so we wanted to give an opportunity today to hear from an administrator that has brought Minecraft into the classroom in a way that can hopefully be a model, at least in part, for everyone here, maybe getting some idea of how you might be able to bring Minecraft back to your school system. And so David Miyashiro, the superintendent, is an innovative thinker, rare among superintendents, and I'm excited to turn it over to him to talk a little bit about the model that has happened in his district.
Thank you, Andrew. So back home in the US, a lot of my colleagues will say that the school system is broken. You might agree. I would say it's perfectly designed, but for the 20th century. And back home, this is 2001, President Bush signed into legislation federal policy mandating compliance issues for education. Well, George Bush, how did that work for us? US ranks right around 30th in reading, math, and science. Britain slightly ahead in science and math and slightly below in reading. But it was necessary. About 200 years ago, we needed a system of education to preserve democracy and start a new nation. And not until the 1900s, and this is true for most countries, did the systems of education change to meet the needs of industrialism. So we decided on some basic skills so that we could have people that would create the infrastructure, man the factories, work on assembly lines, and it was essential that everyone had the same basic skills. In 1957, when Sputnik beat us into space, our President Kennedy told us, we're going to put a man on the moon. And then the government poured money into sciences and mathematics and arts. It was a good time for us. And back to present day, government's putting its hands in the pot where it doesn't belong, and it's hurting everybody. But here's interesting data that's relevant to you, your children, and the future workforce. This is Andreas Schleicher from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. What you see here, the top ball is the US. Britain will come on the next slide. But on the y-axis is the cost of a college education. You notice in the US it's very expensive. In some countries it's not. On the x-axis are the number of people in the workforce percentage with college degrees. So in the US, we have about 30% of our workforce have a college degree. For what we're paying, we're not getting a good return on investment. But watch what happens in the next 5 years. The US is not falling behind. The blue one in the middle right there, the light blue one, that's Britain. Everybody else is just getting better. But what's even more scary for the workforce are the number of high school graduates entering. You notice the UK and the US relatively flat. What are the implications for our children in the future job market? If right now we're competing for global jobs. Here's the opportunity. There isn't an industry that hasn't been touched by technology. If I got rolled into this OR, I would walk out rather than have surgery. Real estate used to be paper. If you're not online, you're out of business. But what happened to our public education system? It's remained relatively unchanged. And so what we have now is we are the last pre-internet generation. There'll be never a time where we don't have instant access to information. Larry Page, the CEO of Google, said, our mission at Google is to make the world's information universally accessible and useful. And we would argue that with tools like Bing and Google, we've done that. And now the cost of textbooks now outweigh the cost of the technology because companies like Microsoft have brought it down so far. So it's almost a no-brainer. But when we talk about education technology, we don't want to start talking about hardware, about should we buy iPads, should we buy Microsoft Windows devices, should we buy tablets, because hardware gets old really fast. The question really needs to be about software. What types of adaptive programs can help our kids learn to read, to build math skills? What tools will give teachers the best data? And then what are some other things that we can do to take the teacher-centric and make it student-centric and personalized learning for kids? And this is what it looks like in a classroom level. Every kid has a computer for their learning. They're using adaptive software that gives teachers immediate feedback about their progress. And teachers can walk around and work with small groups and individuals rather than teach 1 to 30. Now it's 30 to 1 in meaningful projects personalized to each kid. What else can we do if every kid has a laptop for their learning? They can learn new languages. And what we're here to talk about today, why not bring Minecraft to every child in the school system if every kid has access to the device? One of the things we're using Minecraft for in El Cajon is to teach students how to program when they do modding. And I think Britain's school system, Britain's school system is doing the same thing. Britain just launched a year of code.
It comes after years of criticism from within the tech industry that Britain, the country that invented the first electronic computer, is in danger of throwing that computer heritage away.
Great Britain has something like 10% of our industry is based around IT and around computer science and computer software. So we have a great heritage and a great place to build on. What it hasn't been happening is teaching kids about computer programming at a young age. So we've sort of lost that background of people coming up through the schooling system with that experience.
The British student on this next slide really hits it home when he talks about we need to be careful about how we teach computer science in our classrooms.
So, as far as the industry is concerned, the coding lessons can't start soon enough. But there is a bit of concern about how the subject's taught.
And in terms of your fears, what do you think it could be like if they're not careful?
So I really didn't like learning French, and the reason I didn't like it was because I thought it's completely irrelevant. I thought, look, I'm learning to pass an exam, why should I care? Whereas actually if it had been sold to me that, right, you can go to France, you can experience a whole new culture, I think I would have gone, right, I'll go, try it, and actually experience it. And in the same way, you know, coding could be taught in a way where you sit down and it's like, right, let's learn the grammar of HTML. And actually that's so irrelevant, it's so abstract and boring. Having said that, if you ground it in a serious problem in my life or an issue or something really cool that I want to do, it makes it accessible and it's about making it relevant ultimately.
Coders say that where the English language was once an essential business commodity, now in the digital era, code is the new king of global communication.
So in the same way, would you rather learn to code so that you can pass a test, or would you rather learn to code so that you can create your own exquisite Minecraft mod? I think we all know the answer. But some of the barriers that are preventing Minecraft from coming into the classroom are also preventing computer science from coming into the classroom. And so as we look at the data, in the US, it's projected that by the year 2020, there will be 1.4 million new jobs as compared to the prior decade in computer science, and yet only 0.4 million students prepared to accept those jobs. And so we have this 1 million gap that's projected. And so when we think about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and when we look at all STEM jobs, 60% of all STEM jobs are related to computing, and yet when we look at the percentage of students studying in computing fields under the STEM umbrella, there's a disconnect, as we know, because of this gap. What's staggering is the disconnect is bigger than you might think. You might think maybe 50%, 40%, 30%. It's 2% of all STEM students in the United States are studying computer science. And so it's no wonder that there's this big gap. And when you look at high schools in the United States, only 1 out of 10 are teaching computer science in some shape or form. And so what's great is when we think about Minecraft modding is a wonderful way to bring engaging content into the classroom related to computer science. And also, when we look at those statistics for computer science and figure out how did we get here, some of the answers to those questions are the same things that we need to look at when we're asking how can we bring Minecraft into the classroom in a more scalable way. And so the question is, well, time out. We already know that there are teachers all over the world that have been bringing Minecraft into the classroom already and doing a good job of it. And these folks are the mavericks, the pioneers who've taken risks and who've figured out ways to get it into the classroom. We have a number of them on the panel here. It's really exciting when we think about the innovation that's happening and how some folks are willing to take those risks. In education, risks are not usually the common thing to consider. And education is also a place where it's common to follow kind of the status quo and to follow tradition. One of the first things that Satya Nadella said when he became CEO of Microsoft was, this industry and this business is not one that respects tradition. Education is one that does respect tradition. And so bridging the gap between the two mindsets is the challenge. And it's hard to scale mavericks. Like, we can't go and try to make everyone like those pioneers. We have to figure out what that language is and how we articulate to the non-mavericks the value of Minecraft so that they can see why it should be brought into the classroom and how they can bring it in the classroom as well. What do these folks have in common? Well, they're all on Time Magazine's top 10 list of most successful school dropouts, some college dropouts, some high school dropouts. But the other thing is that I think we could say that they're all mavericks. They're all risk takers, and they figured out a way to game and to work through the system. And David's going to talk a little bit more about mavericks from an administrator standpoint.
Great. So back home they say, so David, are we trying to produce gamers? And I said, absolutely. Gamers are the ones that have the most creativity. They know how to collaborate across a broad scale. They're critical thinkers. And they're the brightest people in your classroom with the most grit and perseverance if given the right task. Teachers are afraid of gamers because gamers also take those skills out of the game and into the classroom. This kid is the ultimate gamer, probably a gamer himself.
1 minute, please. time, thank you. Could you all please put down your pens and bring your papers to the front of the room? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, you're too late. Gave you plenty of warnings about time. You failed. Sorry.
Excuse me, do you know who I am?
I have absolutely no idea.
Good.
Only a gamer would be able to pull that one off. Another thing, in order to get more gamers, encourage more behavior, we have to stop being Luke Skywalker with a lightsaber. We have to be more like Yoda. This is a powerful tool. Take this in your hand. Swing it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Force is strong with this one. And then you are the small minority that get it. How many did this about a year ago?
Okay, we've got about 20 seconds before MINECON tickets go on sale. I've got macro keys set up to enter my name, to enter my credit card information, to edit my emails, all this. So I just have to go bam, bam, bam with these 3 buttons, and I'm done. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, right, I've literally got adrenaline. I doubt it'll sell out at the first few minutes, but I want to be safe, sorry, you know, right at the start of it. Okay, here we go, 3, 2, 1. Okay, refresh, refresh. Okay, buy MINECON tickets. You're currently in line, yes! Yes, oh, I'm in. Oh, God. Yes, okay, we're in. Then I'll refresh it just in case. Hopefully it keeps the order.
Quantity sold out? Sold out?
I shouldn't have refreshed. Did that no, because look, it still says that I how could it be sold out? I was there the second you could order them. I just wanted to go to my card.
Obviously, that wasn't your experience. Your experience was more like...
I remember that.
And Dad just texted me. He said he got him. Like, for real.
So the question we're answering today, and we're almost wrapping up, is how do we get more of that? How do we create that? The most common approach in education is top-down. And we all know how that goes. Hello, everybody. We are going to use Minecraft in our classrooms. Assemble the minions.
Let's take it on me.
But teachers aren't minions. And the first response to some new innovation is, what are the barriers? So you'll get people saying, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the computers. We don't have licenses. We don't have time to train everybody. Does this sound familiar in your home district? What about too much screen time? What about online safety? And they try to filibuster you with all these barriers to prevent the innovation. But what we found is we start with capital investments. All those barriers are really people deciding not to do it, deciding not to buy the license, not to fix the infrastructure, not to create systems for teachers to learn. So we start with capital investments, move to human investments, human capital, building the resources within your own capacity. Social capital, hugely important, getting out to the community, the police department, the fire department, city council, school board, getting them engaged. And finally, using social media and getting out to the news to tell your story. If we don't communicate early and often, we'll have surprises. Innovation should not come with surprise because the masses won't accept it that way. So what we start with is, what are we trying to do? If you see here, the building blocks, those are discrete skills that kids need to know. They're still important. Our kids need to know reading, writing, and math. But there's also the inquiry-based part, the squiggly line where it says student exploration, inquiry, questioning, creating. What does that sound like? It sounds a lot like a game called Minecraft. And then we take this message out to the community, have questions and answers and visioning with parents, with students. These are our school board members, the elected officials having conversations with their stakeholders. And the best expert panelists are the children. And we asked them, tell us about the classroom experience. What are some things that we should be doing that we aren't doing yet? And they'll tell us what to do. And it's hard to ignore when the kids are talking. And the last group of stakeholders, the most important group, are the teachers. And rather than micromanage or dictate, we create opportunities where it's safe to learn, safe to try, they have complete access and room to fail. And failure is learned as an iteration, just one step closer to the next thing. And when they break their first block or make their first move, then they're going to get addicted and want to do it more. And so creating the narrative, we had the help of Vu a little while ago, visited us in El Cajon, and our media covered the event, and they told the story for us. So every stakeholder group heard this story.
There's unlimited ways to incorporate it in a classroom in a learning situation, or even learning situations outside of the classroom. Minecraft in itself is kind of by nature a learning game. You are constantly engaged and you need to be creative in order to play the game. It's not a game with a preset story where you're walking through. So you're creating the story, you're creating everything around you as you move through this adventure.
The Cajon Valley District is helping lead the way. Educators say this video game created by Mojang is a great way to teach kids about coding, math, science, language arts, and building their creativity.
What are kids engaged in already, and how can we leverage that to transform their learning? And that's what we've done here. We're taking content and curriculum and giving kids an avenue to explore, create, problem solve, and just have fun.
Well, the kids are out here on a bit of a break, I guess, getting unplugged, so to speak. The superintendent tells me that he's seen students' engagement go up and behavior problems go down since they implemented Minecraft in class. So it's a great way to keep the kids interested and engaged as they learn. Back to you.
I'm going to skip the last video. It's another video of
is setting a new trend in
the same story, but every major network carried the story, and every person in our community knew what we were trying to do. So rather than surprise them with an innovation, we asked them to look under the hood and gave everybody the language to use around why Minecraft is good for kids.
So we're approaching the group discussion, and some of the things we're going to be talking about are too many kids are missing out on Minecraft in the classroom. It's happening in classes around the world with Mavericks, but in places like in David's district, where the kids don't have computers at home, and many of them had actually never even heard of Minecraft in low-income scenarios, it has to be done in a very careful way to make sure that it is sustainable. Because the Minecraft brand is very important. We don't want it just to be integrated at all costs. So how can we keep it a game, but also a meaningful experience from the point of view of educators, so that it's an epic win for everyone? And so we know the success will rise and fall on teachers, and we are going to start with some of the teachers that we have here at the end of the panel, and then ask some of our experts from Mojang and Microsoft as well. What's really exciting is we have two teachers who have been those Mavericks on the ground floor, on the front lines, experiencing the logistical challenges and issues, and would love to hear from you guys on what are some of the things that you guys have experienced in dealing with administration, with parents. Like, what are those roadblocks that you run into?
It depends really on how you approach it yourself. I mean, I was very fortunate that my head is actually very proactive and knows what Minecraft's all about. So from that point of view, he knew the benefits of getting it into the school to use. Whereas Graham next to me is finding totally opposite. He's finding barriers trying to get it into school. I'm finding barriers actually using it in school now, which is interesting. But they're not overcomable. They are very approachable, and like any barrier, you can go under, around, over, and it's just finding that right way to go through it. The biggest one for me was, I don't think the majority of teachers understand how popular, what the culture of Minecraft is with the children. On Thursday, I was teaching my 35-year-olds, and they're excited because they know I'm here. The teacher's like, yeah, good luck, so, fun. But I know when I go back, they're going to be buzzing and wanting to find out more, and it's trying to encourage teachers to know how important Minecraft is to these children and how it can affect their ways in education and learning. They can use it in so many ways. They're using Twitter, they're using YouTube, all this social media, which I don't think the teachers know they actually can use in school. So that's one thing I think for me.
Well, one of the very big issues that I was coming up against is just the idea of how can games possibly be used as a learning tool? Because, well, games are games. That's what they do. The brain switches off and they just sit mindlessly pressing buttons and doing nothing. But over time, with gradually chipping away with persistence and I guess just constantly bugging the folks in charge, attitudes at the school are now starting to change, and I'm gradually getting it so that the kids are able to sit in front of a computer screen and play a game and yet also be meaningfully learning. And I'm not concerned that certain other teachers are going to wander by my room, stick their head in the window and say, hang on a minute, these kids are just wasting time. And that's, even that small battle there has taken me a good 3 or 4 years to actually be able to manage. But again, things are changing, and with more time, I'm sure I will be getting further with that.
And I think that's true, time. When I first introduced Minecraft in my school, Montpelier Primary School, I did it as an after-school club. I had over 80 applicants on the first day, and I had over 220 by the first week out of a school of 700 children. And I know how precious time is as a teacher. You prioritize, you manage your time. For me, because I know what Minecraft can do, for me it's one of my priorities. You know, how can I fit it into my learning, into my teaching, on top of report writing, data, assessment, everything else on top. But the success that I'm feeling now and the sort of the positiveness is that the other teachers in my school are now coming up and saying, Nath, how can you do this? Can you show me that? Which has now led to my Year 3 group who've used it to teach Stone Age and link it into the Stone Age with their history curriculum. So it's slowly drip feeding into our school, into the curriculum. So yeah, go with it, explore, have a play. That's the thing with it, I think.
What about if you have a head who says you can do whatever you want? What would you do? What types of systems do you think are important to make sure that it's not only a fun game, but also perceived as a meaningful and safe game to the school community?
Well, the big thing for me was e-safety. You know, lots of parents, lots of teachers like concerned about the e-safety of Minecraft. Well, we created our own server in-house. It's all password protected. The children go in, and what a better way to learn it in a safe environment in school. Because I know there's been situations, some children outside of school who are not taught, not shown how to be safe online. And it's quite scary. It's a big wide world out there. If you go to the park, would you go and talk to a stranger? No. If you're in Minecraft, would you go and talk to a stranger on a server? Some children do. So it's quite scary out there. But in a school environment, it can be very safe and purposeful.
And again, in addition to that, with the online safety thing, giving them a concrete example of what risks and what things are really do help them with, really help the pupils with, keeping themselves safe online. Another thing that's always very important that I've found when I'm working with the gaming is the pupils need to know the difference between what is just playing for the sake of playing and what is a learning task. Or what is an assignment that they've been given. And by making sure that they know the difference between the two, they're able to approach the task, and it seems to really, really help with their focus as well. By structuring the tasks very carefully and well for them, they seem to really respond very well to that.
Awesome. Okay. So, yeah, Vu, what are some of your thoughts on the obstacles of bringing Minecraft into more classrooms?
I mean, that's what we've been doing for a while now, is trying to investigate, like, what are things that people have come across when they are trying to bring not just Minecraft, but games into a classroom or games into a school system, and how they have been able to overcome them. And I mean, it is quite surprising how many different types of obstacles people will throw up, right? it's not just there are, you know, some that you had mentioned, and people are afraid of things they don't understand or they don't know. And of course, digital security is a problem, but there's also just a lot of misinformation that you have to get through. And people being not fearful just of things that they don't understand, but more things that they've just heard the wrong thing about. And the more that we can educate people on this process and what the game means to people, or what any games mean to people, and that games aren't what maybe they believe they are, because they have maybe a more traditional thought process about what games mean to people and what they are in people's lives. If we can educate through that and past that, then we can start breaking down the need for these obstacles to even exist. You know, most of the ones that exist and the ones that people are going through, once they get through, the people who were putting up the obstacles realize, like, oh yeah, okay, we just didn't know. And I think that it's all about education. So in order for us to get to the point where we can use games to educate, we have to educate the people who are stopping games from being used to educate.
Awesome. Yeah. You said something that really stuck out to me. It's not just the obstacles to Minecraft, but also just gaming and education in general. Deirdre, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we do see, as we visited classrooms and talked to teachers, there is a stigma associated with games in some cases, but it feels like we're moving away from that. As we see more and more people playing games across all different ages and demographics, we see teachers, like the examples we have here and some examples we've seen earlier, who are using games really effectively in the classroom. As awareness goes up, people really see the value of that. And especially with Minecraft. We have a group of teachers here doing workshops at MINECON, and students are coming and they're playing for an hour, and they're learning about math, and they're learning and doing science experiments.
Every year we're getting closer to the point where most people in a school system grew up with games, right? Like that's how it works. And you know, we're moving out of the phase where the majority of people who work in schools did not grow up with games. And so that is also going to be a big shift, one that we don't have to push, one that we don't have to be a part of. It's just a natural shift as people age out of this profession and other people age in. They grew up with games and have a different level of trust for them.
Yes. Yeah. So in articulating the value of games, in articulating the value of Minecraft to those who either have had misinformation or just have no idea what Minecraft is, what are some of your thoughts as teachers on how you would do that? Like to some of your fellow teachers that they say, what is this Minecraft thing that you're doing in that room? I heard that the kids are loving it, but I just don't understand why they're so crazy about it. How do you articulate the value so that they say, okay, I'm interested in maybe seeing if I can use that in my classroom?
To me, it's all about sharing the good practice, sharing what we've done. So our school webpage sort of videos and takes photographs, the children take part in it. We also then have a YouTube channel as well. We put videos on, the children are all part of that. And it's sharing it, and it's making the other sort of practitioners understand that these children are actually learning through Minecraft. Whether they're even using like 100 square on the wall, whether it's just through trying to survive in a Stone Age situation. There's many aspects of it, and I think out there, I know there's so many teachers who are sharing all their worlds and all their creations. So there's a lot of things out there, a lot of content out there which we can use as a teacher.
And one of the things that I've been trying to see when I'm showing that Minecraft is a very useful thing is that it's a useful tool. It's great in so many different areas. You can teach so many different discrete subjects using it. Again, we've mentioned the maths, computing, history and so on. But even within a single subject, using the same tool, you can easily differentiate a task from the lowest of ability to the highest of ability and push them regardless of what they're capable of. And it's all in the same tool. You're using the same equipment, the same resources, and you're individualizing each pupil's learning to really push them and get the most out of them. And as more teachers are starting to see that that's a possibility, more and more people are now coming to me and saying, how can we go about getting this for everybody? How can we get this going in our school? And it's,
I mean, in my after-school club, we have such a mix of ability of children, so it's for all children, and it's interesting to see how some children come in, and the first thing you do on the PC screen is they touch it. Well, we don't have touch screens on the PCs, and they go, how do you move? Why can't I fly? Well, it's not in creative mode yet. Okay, let's put you in creative mode, and off they go. So the children come with different abilities, and as teachers, we all have different levels of ability as well. And in that sort of environment in my club, everyone is sharing off each other. So that child who's 9 is actually helping that child work out a recipe to build that. Well, that child there is showing them how to take a screenshot. Well, at the same time, they're helping the teacher who's had a go at that, the year 3 teacher, and is not sure how to jump. So they've just showed them how to jump. So it's like the environment in my school has been created like to share all the time, to ask your friend, then ask an adult maybe. And that seems to work really well. It seems to sort of promote that sharedness.
I have a perspective internally, and I'll just gauge by head nods. But what we found in the system is teaching is a risk-averse community. So sometimes it's not about opposition to gaming. It's about I have to change what I'm doing, and I might not be good at that. And that puts me at a risk as far as performance evaluation. People in decision-making roles like myself, if we start an initiative and it fails, our jobs are gone. The average lifespan of a superhead is 3 years. And so to take these kind of risks are scary. What we're doing with the University of San Diego, who couldn't be here today, is we're studying the outcomes of our students in relation to the implementation of Minecraft and game-based education. Because once a system does it successfully, when all 17,000 of our kids have modded on Minecraft, and there's research and data to support that this actually had tangible benefits, both cognitively and developmentally, then it'll be easy for others to follow. But systems need to do this at a level so that the Mavericks don't have to do it on their own. Do you have a response to that?
I agree. So we're seeing that when a teacher does bring Minecraft, and often it's a teacher who's grown up with gaming and is a maverick, they bring it in and they start to use it in their classrooms. Other teachers kind of come to the door and they sort of start to lean in. And once they see what's happening, they see really that magic of that intrinsic engagement where the students they can't wait to get to class and they can't wait to work on that project because it just unlocks creativity. It unlocks this new level of thinking. You can take a lesson on gravity, and if you invite the students in to help you develop that lesson by using Minecraft, you open the inventory and they can't wait. They're fighting over being included in that and helping develop that lesson, and they're so bought into it, and they're using the terms and they're engaged, and then the teachers can draw that out. We have one teacher who's extended that into a lesson about, well, let's think about how gravity affects different objects in Minecraft, and let's think about, well, what does that mean? What did the game developer think about? What were they thinking when they developed the game? So you take this lesson that in one class they could be doing with paper and pencil, and all of a sudden you've extended it and you have students walking out of class still thinking about and talking about this and thinking about career choices and STEM education. It becomes incredibly powerful. And once you really start to unlock that, teachers, when they see the level of engagement, are willing to move past the reluctance and any anxiety they have and start to share. You talked about, the teachers sharing, and we definitely have seen that.
The enthusiasm of the children in class using Minecraft is just phenomenal. I've never seen anything has that effect with children, to be so engaged. And as long as it's purposeful, I think that's the key with using Minecraft, making it purposeful for your learning. Although sometimes it's nice just to have a play around in that creative mode and build what you want.
Thank you. So one of the questions that we've been asking a lot is, how does a child aspire to a career that they don't even know exists? And Minecraft can open up a new way of thinking, creative thinking, innovation. And so what are some of the links that as teachers, when you're doing Minecraft, lessons in Minecraft, you can say, now, here's a connection to this field or to this field. Like, I think we were talking about computer science last night, Nathan. Graham. What are some of the thoughts that you had on computing and really igniting not only a passion, but also an awareness of what some of the opportunities might be beyond school.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, my mind. Sorry, brain went blank. With, oh,
It's good. That sounds like you.
yeah. Right. So, with using the Minecraft in my computing class, or in the computing class, it seems the big thing that everybody seems to think computing is code. Code, 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 code. If you think about computing, you're writing programs. You're doing this and that and the next thing. But with Minecraft, the nice thing is, with this one tool, again, that's a thing I keep going on about. It's the same tool I'm doing with multiple different purposes. I can do lots of different things. With one mod, for example, I can have kids writing programs that are going to make, actually writing code that will make missile silo doors open and close for their secret underground evil bases. Or they can be teaming up to learn cooperatively about different roles that people need to play as part of a team. Because again, a huge aspect in the Scottish education system is it's not just that we are teaching them to learn or be experts in our field. We're teaching them to be effective contributors, responsible citizens. And by getting them working in teams like that in these different areas, we're not just saying, here is some code, here is some computing science stuff, here are some other transferable life skills that you're learning that you're taking elsewhere. And again, I can teach things as well about computer architecture. So again, some of the kids that just don't have any interest in code, they're absolutely fascinated by, well, how does a logic gate work? Why is it that when I give a 1 and a 1 in, I get something different out? And we can start exploring that by building up, using redstone and all the rest of it to make logic gates and explore computer architecture and things like that. And it's, again, one tool, so many different purposes. And it's, yeah,
awesome.
Great for that.
I have a question for the panel, and I think it might be one that we're all wondering. We know that there's a possibility that at some point we could bring Minecraft to every single classroom. Is that, if it were possible, what would be some of the systems that we would want to put in place to ensure that there was quality and that it wasn't just what David mentioned earlier, top down, we're going to do Minecraft in the classroom, so that we can really protect the Minecraft brand and have it be truly Minecraft and truly still a game? Do we want it in every classroom?
Well, like, the way I view it, I want it in every classroom where people want to use it, right? Like, that is the key. It's not about, like, our desire is that everyone must use it. What our desire is the same way as we want people to play the game, just players playing the game. They should do it the way they want, and they should get out of it what they want. When you're talking about in education, it's a little more complicated, right? Because it's not necessarily an individual experience. It's group experience, shared experience. But still, it should be what people want to get out of it and how they feel comfortable and how they feel is the best way for them to get something out of it. What I think we would be making a mistake doing would be saying there's a right way to use Minecraft in education and maybe there's a wrong way, right? And what we want to say is, like, any way can be right or wrong. There probably are a couple wrong ways. I will just put that out there. Maybe there's a few. But mostly what you're going to have is people just doing it differently. And especially the fact that Minecraft is used around the world. It's played around the world as a game. It's used around the world in block by block. And it's used around the world in classrooms and other educational settings. And we can't pretend to know all the different cultures and what is the best way for them to use it. So for us, I just want it to be with everyone who wants to use it. And I want them to feel empowered enough to figure out the best way that it works for them.
That's great. You're nodding, Deirdre, so it sounds like you're thinking the same thing.
Agree? Okay.
They're aligned. That's great. Yeah, we have a little time. As you heard, it's going to be closing in a few minutes. But we'd like to open up for a few questions, if there are any, on this topic of overcoming the obstacles.
Thank you, panel. That was a superb discussion. Question I'd like to ask, and I'd be very much of the same ilk in regards to the use of gaming and gamification of the curriculum. Is the archaic nature of assessment then holding a lot of school systems back in both the United States and in the United Kingdom through standardized scoring? You alluded earlier on to the industrialization of education. The Sir Ken Robinson model goes the entire opposite direction. Do you foresee the assessment procedures having to change to take account of where we're going with our gamification?
Right. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
In many places, yes, you will find that assessments and standardised things are going to cause you issues. However, in more and more countries around the world at the moment, there's a move away from the standardised testing and requiring that every pupil sits an exam every single session. Again, I know that in Scotland we're very much moving away from this idea of a test, a written test at the end of every unit. More and more work is being assessed. Pupils can actually gain certificated qualifications without having to submit some sort of formal exam paper, or they can have large percentages of their work, a large percentage of final grade awarded based on a sort of a non-firm mark, if you know what I mean. It's not like, oh, you get 60 out of 60 for this. It's judged on its merit or judged on what is actually being achieved with it. So across the world, we have got some countries moving away from that. Again, I know Scotland's the only one I can tell you right now, definitely we are doing it, but I know that others are going that way. Sorry.
That's a great question. I think assessments are important, but what we've done in the UK and the US with them is ridiculous. And I don't see them changing for us at the political level, but at the local level, I as the superhead can tell my stakeholders in my community that there are more data points than just the standardized test. If we look at education as a business, the business model that we're currently using is obsolete. But because we're public and free and tax paid, there's a lot of job security. There's no incentive to change. So we have to lead that at the government level, locally, my school board and myself, to say, what does the job market look like? What are the skills necessary? And maybe not every kid has to go to college. Maybe some kids are going to develop skills and develop their own business, go into entrepreneurialism. There's lots of different opportunities when we look at the changing global economy. And I think that as systems start to do that and there's measured success, government may pay attention, but we're not waiting for the federal government in the US. We're doing it anyways because our kids deserve it.
Good afternoon, evening, folks. That was a really good discussion as well. A couple of questions, a couple of points. In Scotland, there was a real push for games and learning and game design from 2006 onwards, and it was kind of closed down. And I think there are big issues about cultural and social habitus in terms of how established formal structural forms of education, such as schools and like the national body in Scotland that drove things, didn't fully buy in and appreciate the benefits of worlds such as games design and games and learning. We're still faced with that. What are we going to do in order to change the decision makers' opinions and understanding of the spaces that we fully appreciate? Because they're the decision makers. What are Microsoft doing with Scottish Government, for example, or with English Government to try and influence and make those changes? And also, what are Microsoft and Mojang doing technically to make things like server space available, to make Minecraft available so that school pupils can get into it, so they can log into it at home? We just did a big project in Dundee using Xbox and PlayStation that was only in schools, and it wasn't online. We did that because local authorities won't allow us out with the firewalls because it'll compromise their infrastructure. So we're continually, like the tail's wagging the dog here. What can Microsoft and Mojang do to affect change in this area?
I feel put on the spot now. Excellent question. This is what I'm supposed to say while I think of what to say next. Very good question. No, I think that there's a lot we can do, and that is part of what we are here today. And a week ago at ISTE is we're in a discovery phase. you know, in this partnership, Microsoft and Mojang with Minecraft in Education, on what are the best routes that we can take and what are the things that we can provide, not just when we're talking about simple obstacles, but things that you're discussing here that are at another level. And you know, Minecraft itself has been brought into schools from the most bottom-up approach of all time, right? Like, we did not push for it. It definitely was not a top-down thing. Students and their passion for the game that they loved and spent time with is what got Minecraft into schools. That's what started it, and now, you know, now it comes from different directions, but that was the beginnings, right? And now it is a chance for us to step up and say, like, well, we should help to affect the change that so many people want. But I won't say that we're experts just yet in what we need to do. And that is part of why we need the dialogue with you to find out what are the things that we can provide, both infrastructure-wise, but also from a support standpoint, to be able to make those kinds of changes when you have certain organizations, whether they're governments or more local organizations, that are completely against these kinds of things. And we want to do that.
I think also sometimes it might be down to some of us mavericks out there who are using it. I want my children to be able to access Minecraft from... Sorry?
He's saying we need to go beyond the mavericks.
Yeah, well, so you want someone to share and see what's out there so you can do it. Because your hands are tied at the moment, you're saying, yeah? Because with me in England, my hands aren't necessarily tied because I can, hopefully, my plan is to enable some of my children to access the club at home, as well as when I'm there as well. And I think if that works successfully, I'm not sure how, theoretically, because I'm not like a tech guy, but I know I can access it from home, and my tech guy can, so we can provide that option for the children to log on to our server, and we'll talk the e-safety, we'll talk all that, and then hopefully share that with you, share that with everyone else, and hopefully those guys at the top who are tying your hands in respect to doing that can see, well, hey, that guy down in Plymouth, that guy Nathan, he's got whole Plymouth logged on to his Minecraft server. There's like 4,000 kids there playing that. They're all doing this. They built this massive big bet. You don't know that it could happen. And that's what I'm looking to do and hopefully share. And maybe that could help untie those hands, if that helps.
We could also just, if you let me know who this one person is, I'll invite him to the next MineCon. And I think we'll set him straight.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, I've got, when you mentioned your after-school club, now this may well be happening in my school soon. I think I'm nearly there with my head. But I feel like I'm going to be in this situation that you found yourself in, where I'm going to have 500 kids that want to do, say, a club when we only have 13 computers in our ICT suite. Yep. How do you manage that? If you've only got, say, one session a week. Now, I may be able to get more. How would you manage that?
All I can offer is some advice on what I did. The children applied for it, and I gave a deadline. All children applied, and actually, fortunately, every child who applied got into the club, mainly because I gave them a 6-week block of 38 children, because I've got 38 computers in my IT suite. I could have gone more with some laptops as well, but I kept it at 38. And I run an hour session from after school, 3:15 to 4:15. I then have a little 10-minute break, and then basically have another club from 4:30 to 5:30. So on a Monday, that is my sort of club time after school, my curriculum time. And I managed to get all those children in from the beginning of the year who applied till this 2 weeks time, but last Monday. Sorry? Basically, those who apply for that 3:15 to 4:15 slot, parents come and pick them up, take them home. It's an after-school club for an hour. And then the children who come back will come back at 4:30 for the next second slot, really. And it's, at first I thought wouldn't get many children coming back after school. They do come back.
Nathan, for both of you, some advice that we learned. I'm not sure if your funding system is the same as ours, but when you have that kind of supply and demand, in our system, we get money from the government for every student that attends school. It's called average daily attendance. And so when students miss school, if they make it up on a Saturday, we get money for that. We put Minecraft modding on our Saturday school and had a wait list. So kids that didn't want to come to school are now waiting to come to school on Saturdays to get into this class, and it's bringing revenue back to the district. This is a strategy, but those are the head fakes and ways you can get people that pay attention as far as the business office in your district office to understand the value of what you're bringing to your district. That's supply and demand. That 500-person wait list is value. That's value to your district.
All right. As an example of that, we wanted to close with a video that captures what happened when we brought Minecraft to the Saturday school, and kids who didn't want to come to school were now waking up early, and it was a win-win for everyone. Parents had a few extra hours to enjoy on a Saturday, and kids had the opportunity to come make up work and play Minecraft, at least the way they saw it.
Hi, I'm David Miashura. I'm superintendent for the Cajon Valley Union School District. Welcome to Minecraft Day. When the students arrive here, they're going to see things that are familiar. They're going to get excited.
It's an opportunity for kids to learn specific Common Core state standards, all in the digital world of Minecraft.
MC Magnet Middle School is hosting the event for district students today.
Kids will go from classroom to classroom, work with each other, work with different teachers, experience different facets of the game.
When they entered this campus, it felt like they were entering a Minecraft world.
I'm like walking around everywhere. There's activities, games. I was all like, oh, we're playing Minecraft. I didn't expect this.
So Cajon Valley Union School District has a district-wide initiative to really take today's students into next generation learning experience.
Today we have several district staff here. We have our IT department, and we have the University of San Diego's Mobile Technology Learning Center. They've been a strategic partner in both the design and study of our efficacy, and Code to the Future, which is our partner that assists with curriculum development and training, and actually working directly with students as well.
We can't just keep on teaching the same classical subjects that we've been teaching for decades. The world is a different place now.
The new literacy of the 21st century is computer science. Minecraft is another way that students can express their learning through something that they're already engaged with.
In order to accomplish our educational objectives, we found that it's especially helpful if the students can be fully engaged by the environment that we create.
It's really amazing to see the work come together and benefit the students here.
I love playing Minecraft in school because it's related in math and it's really fun.
Each kid was engaged, they were all working, and I was pretty amazed at what I saw.
Using Minecraft in the classroom is so special because it's not an educational tool in the traditional sense. Rather, it's an actual game that students love to play.
Today we had a lesson that was very fun, very effective, and it really worked for the time structure that we had.
I'm learning how to play the game, I'm learning math, I'm learning like if you're making a house, you gotta count the area, the perimeter, how much blocks there is. It's like I look at stuff differently in Minecraft.
We had about 170 students today, primarily 4th graders, as well as some 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
I feel like we're on the crest of a wave. This is a big movement that we're participating in.
Every player, every user, every student gets to contribute their own unique footprint to the game. And when we're able to do that with the content standards, while also developing the skills of collaboration, creativity, problem solving, and designing things that weren't there before.
Today was part of a greater effort of ours to make Minecraft more accessible to classes and to inspire people to use Minecraft to teach and to learn.
I feel like this is a great thing for kids. It's like, this is fun and I'm learning.
I'd just like to thank you all for coming and also thank the panelists for joining and for all that you shared with us and for your passion and dedication for students.